Welcome to Intimacy Evolution, the podcast that helps you enjoy deeper connection and more intimacy in your relationships. I'm Carey, relationship and intimacy coach, and together with my husband Mark, a licensed professional counselor, we're here to help couples create the relationships they crave. Relationships evolve over time, and that's okay. Let's talk about it. Have you ever found yourself responding to your child or a loved one in a more reactive way than you would have liked to? Sometimes we find ourselves in moments where our emotions are hijacked and our response is less than desirable. In this episode, we discuss how parents can respond to their child in a way that communicates love and care when they find themselves being neurologically hijacked. Mark discusses what it takes to interrupt a pattern and shares what has helped him to show up differently. He provides tips and tricks to take back control of your nervous system. The answers are easier than you think. If you want extra support in learning how to regulate your nervous system to show up the way you want for your loved ones, we'll share what to do at the end of the episode. Now, on to the show. We have an interesting shift in our show today.
Oh, yeah.
So it's more of an interview, like you've heard before, but I'm actually interviewing Mark, kind of. Actually, I'm just kind of along for a story time, really is what it is. So Mark, I'll just kind of let you get into the background of what we're talking about today.
So this topic came up for me. There was an experience, and I'll tell the whole story. And I had this reaction to it. I was responding in a way that is not how I wanted to. And I didn't know why. And so it probably took me 3 or 4 days. And finally in the shower, it came to me. And
our best ideas happen in the shower.
That's right. There's many a jokes I could make there. But so the story goes, we were at wrestling practice the other night. I'm helping coach, but I coach the bigger kids, and there's 2 different rooms. And anyways, so Remington's in practice.
Our 7-year-old.
And him and another kid are playing around afterwards, as I'm talking to another coach or rounding things up and telling them, hey, it's time to go. And they started a race from one end of the room to the other. Wrestling rooms have padded walls. They're not highly padded, but there's a pad there.
There's a cushion.
So anyways, I'm turned the other way, and all I hear is our son start to like cry and yell. And I turn around and he's holding his arm, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what happened? And I go over to him, and I feel this emotion inside of me, and I'm like, what is this? This isn't how I want to respond. Like my son is hurt. He's injured.
So what are you feeling? Can you describe it?
Yeah. It was anger, frustration. In the words coming to my mind were things that were criticisms and whatnot. The skit like playing in my head, like, that's what happens when we play around, or someone gets hurt when we're jacking around, and like these like kind of gross statements. And
stuff I feel like maybe a lot of us heard as kids in our, older millennial.
Yeah. And so I knew right then it was from the past.
Yeah.
So I have memories popping up from the past that are trying to impact the present, that are hijacking my neurological system, and I'm not being able to respond the way I want to, which is love and care and support and concern.
Yeah.
And so I noticed it in that moment.
Okay.
I took a deep breath. I said to myself, and this is kind of something that we'll talk more about, is I said to myself, how would I respond to someone else? Some other kid, or how would I want to be responded to? Because I know this other thing's happening
right
in the back of my mind. And it's like, I know it's it's like, what the fuck is that? Like, that's
Mhm.
not what I want. That's not how I want to show up.
Yeah.
Um, so I do all the things that I wanted to in that moment.
Okay.
I pick him up, I talk to him, I ask him, what happened, where it hurts,
Mhm.
and like it's gonna be okay. And I console him and do all the things in the way that I wanted to show up.
Yeah.
But it's not always been that way. And it's never gonna be always that way in the
Yeah.
future.
Mm.
But I thought this was a really good story to highlight when we have those moments,
Mhm.
those pivotal moments and the epiphanies of like, holy crap,
Mm.
there's something else that could come out right here
Yeah.
as a parent or as a partner.
Yeah.
Like when we're interacting and we could both list each other's like pain points or past points or historical stories that come up
Yeah.
and get in the way of our interactions.
Mhm.
And this was one of those for me with him.
Yeah.
And it had nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to keep people that don't know the story on the edge of their seat too long. But what happened was he ran and was racing. The other kid was slightly in front of him. So he ran as fast as he could, past him, and won the race. But in doing so, he ran into the wall with his arms extended.
Yeah.
And next day, we come to find out he broke his arm.
Yeah.
So he ran into the wall full speed and broke his arm. I mean, that there's a physics lesson there. But
Right. Yeah.
I also stopped myself from saying anything about the lesson
Mm.
because that also wasn't helpful. I was going through this moment like, that's not helpful. I'm not going to say
Natural
that.
consequences showed him what we don't do in the future.
Yes. I mean, he's going to learn without me saying it.
Yeah.
Like, who needs to say when they're injured, their arm's broken? Like, who wants to hear, like, yeah, if you run into a wall full speed with your arms out, you're going to break your arm. Like, that's not necessary. That's not going to help.
It's not helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then it could create a lot of personal stories for them with future interactions in any way. So there's just a lot that could impact, and we might not realize it in the moment, but like, yeah.
Yeah. So, so we did everything with him, and I was thinking, like I said, multiple days later,
Mhm.
I'm going through this journey of like, where does that come from? What is
Mhm.
that? It's not really somebody at some point in life had said that or something of that effect. Probably in a much similar situation, sports environment where,
Mhm.
we're doing something we're not supposed to be doing or something like that. And when it hit me in the shower, I knew what it was. I put my finger on it.
You
It came to
mentioned.
me.
Yeah.
And it's my own story
Okay.
and a very, for me, shame-filled,
Ooh.
guilt-ridden story
Okay.
um, of me injuring someone else.
Oh.
Which I have a couple of these. Um, uh, one is like not mine at all. When I was in, I don't know, elementary school, my best friend and I, we wanted to kick a ball back and forth, and we didn't have a ball, so we grabbed a tether ball and we were kicking it. Well, tether balls have big hooks on the end,
Oh.
and it bounced up and hit him in the head.
Oh no.
But that's a side story.
Okay.
That's
We all have experiences.
yeah.
Yes. So
Where
what is
mistakes happen.
Yeah.
The one that was coming up very specifically to this is when we were in college, we were rolling out wrestling mats.
Mm.
And I mean, this is very vulnerable for me to say with anybody can listen to this.
Yeah.
But we were messing around. We were rolling out these mats and we're kind of like pretending to roll over each other and then like getting out of the way and whatnot. Well, one of our friends, I'm rolling this mat and we're playing and whatnot. And I hit him with this mat.
Mm.
And the way he was faced and everything else, he blew out his ACL.
No.
So I felt, forever, I still feel this way that I'm responsible for what happened.
Yeah.
And that's the part that was coming up in that moment with my son, was like my guilt, my shame for this mistake that I made, that I definitely take a lot of responsibility for that, because it was me doing this thing.
Yeah.
It was an accident, but still. And so that was coming up in that moment, that was really hijacking my neurological system and trying to push me into saying things that weren't what I felt in that moment, and weren't what was necessary in that moment.
Yeah. Do you think it was almost like trying to put the quote unquote blame on him being our son in this situation from your previous, like, well, you did this or whatever? Like
That's the equivalent, right? I was putting the blame on myself, which was our son. So I was seeing myself as that person, that child, and repeating what I feel towards myself to that child, which would have been our son. Now, there was a lot that I think has gone into that not happening in this circumstance. You know, one, the awareness, that's a huge one.
Yeah.
Gathering the awareness, finding the awareness, and that really comes from self-work.
Yeah.
That's from therapy, from talking, from being vulnerable, from thinking about yourself, journaling, all this personal growth work.
Yeah.
I think what allowed me to stop there.
Yeah.
And not be as reactive. But I think for me, it illustrates how easy and how complicated our responses are to other people, to ourselves.
Yeah.
There's just so much that goes into that.
Yeah. You noticed in your body that something was coming up, like you felt something. And because of all the work that you have done, you had that awareness. What you said was, I stopped and thought, how would I respond if it was someone else? Because the sad thing is sometimes we do take out things more with the ones that we love, whether that's our partner or our kid. So you notice, like, I'm feeling something. How would I react if it was another kid that was hurt right now?
Yeah. Because, from my perspective, we see our partners, our family, our kids as extensions of us. So because they're an extension of us, they're easy to project that past shame or guilt or whatever emotion on.
Yeah.
Because we expect them to know what we know, and to think the way we think.
And for parents, you might have heard this. I know it circulates on a lot of like mom platforms. It's, children hold it together when we're outside of the home, school events, things like that. But when they're at home, they literally just like let it all go. And, that's when they have the meltdowns, shorter attention span, like all the things, because you're their safe space and they can just collapse with you. And I think, it's the same with parents too.
Yeah, to some degree.
Our kids are either a reflection of us, or they are our safe space as well. Like we view them as our core. And so we find maybe that we are not sometimes our best selves with them, unfortunately, because of that. It kind of goes both ways.
Yeah, I would say that I've seen that and I've felt that personally.
So originally my question was, how does somebody notice, how do they become aware when they have these reactions with their children or partner? How do you notice this and find time to pause? Or I guess it could be, I'm kind of answering in myself, is like, you may have your reaction and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's not how I want to respond. And then you say, hold on, let me take a moment to gather myself. So sometimes that might be the awareness, like that's building the awareness, right?
Yeah. Witnessing, or like being able to observe ourselves, and that takes practice. there's a combination of what can we do in the moment, and then what can we do on a regular basis to help us in that moment that might happen later on.
Yeah.
You know, the most simplistic thing is taking deep breaths. Like, it seems so silly because it works so well in all situations. And I'm not saying that's the way to do it here. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
So we have the things in the moment, like taking a deep breath, or maybe bilateral stimulation is something we talk about in therapy a lot, which is activating both sides of the body so the neurological system comes back into form. So whenever we're in an emotional state, our right hemisphere is overactive, which is emotions, memories, especially emotional memories, right? And so in this moment, I have this fear that just pops off because I heard the scream. It wasn't normal. It wasn't his like, ouch, I'm hurt. It was like, hey, there's something, it's more than that.
Yeah.
And so that sends my right hemisphere into overdrive, and my left hemisphere, the logical, the understanding, that current state, it drives the activation in that down. And so now I have an imbalance in my brain between my left and my right hemisphere, and I have to get that back to both being active.
Yeah.
And so that's why when people say take a walk when you're stressed, what they're saying is, when you do something that's left, right, back and forth, you're using both, because our brain is cross-wired to the opposite side of the body. It is getting both hemispheres back online.
Yeah.
And so that's a pretty prominent technique in the moment, is if you could do something that gets the left hemisphere back online, then that's a great resource.
What's a simple technique?
So walking. So
Okay.
I'll use the example oftentimes at work. If I get on like a stressful phone call, I'll stand up and start walking around my room. Or if you take like someone that does public speaking, they don't stand in one spot. One, because it's boring. Two, because their nervous system, they're going to become more anxious.
Yeah.
And so walking, people may tap their fingers left, right.
Okay.
That's one. We teach little kids butterfly hugs, which is crossing your arms and tapping one like tricep and then the other tricep back and forth.
So in this moment, I'm thinking, parents, or, you probably didn't necessarily want to walk away from our son at that moment.
Correct. But the benefit I had was I wasn't next to him. So I got to walk over to him.
Okay.
And so that helped me in that moment quite a bit.
That's when you were kind of like, what's going on? You're starting to feel yourself getting angry, frustrated, irritated, all this stuff.
Yeah, all this past memory
as
stuff.
You got to him because you were walking, that was able to decrease.
Yes.
Through that. Okay. So parents, if you hear your kids fighting and then all of a sudden you hear one scream and cry or something, that something happened. Use that time.
Don't respond right
away. Take that time of however long it is for you to get to the other room or walk to them. Use that as your awareness time to pause, take a deep breath, and come into the situation curious. That's a phrase we use with our kids. Get curious, not furious.
Yes.
A big one is don't ask, what did you do? Why did you do that? Those are very critical. Instead, say, what happened?
Yeah.
You see one of the kids is hurt. You say, are you okay? Where does it hurt? How can I help you? Before you address, maybe if the other sibling did cause, the hurt.
Feel like we're talking to ourselves at this point.
100%. And you guys get the byproduct of, you get to learn from us.
There's all that. in those moments. But I think the thing that really has helped me was outside of those moments.
Okay.
And that's doing the things on a regular basis that's going to bring my threshold of reaction down.
Yeah.
And my ability to witness myself and observe myself to increase that. And so those are things like working on expression, vulnerability, all this type of stuff that, you know, for me, it's been personally working with a coach myself.
Yeah.
As well as I put a lot of effort into health, and I think that's helped a lot for me.
Yeah. Having a nice physical outlet.
Yeah, especially, you know, being in the masculine, being a guy, I think the physical outlet is very helpful.
It's crucial. Like, it's needed.
Yeah. So showing up and being authentic and like all these buzzwords, but by being with other people, by doing men's groups, by, you know, talking about it, having more conversations between us.
Yeah.
You know, all those things.
Yeah. If you know, there, it's all over Instagram. It's like this whole thing, you know, conscious parenting, like all, you know, gentle parenting, all, you know, there's a bunch of different variations. And ultimately what it is it's identifying what you don't want to repeat with your children or in your relationship, whatever you witnessed growing up with, you know, romantic relationships, you know, your parents, or parent-child relationships. If you don't want to repeat that, be aware of that. And also like you're saying, surround yourself with people that are also of a similar mindset, that are taking action and are trying to do things differently.
Yeah. And
because then you have support.
Definitely. And one of those big things for me is coming up with like a morning routine or ritual, or doing things for yourself, putting yourself first.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to show up differently for your kids, then show up differently for yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I feel like that allowed this to turn out the way it did, instead of some other way that I would even feel more guilt and shame about how I reacted and what message I gave. And I'm like apologetic and all this other stuff. And the fascinating thing for me is it was on my mind, and it continued to be on my mind until I figured that out for myself.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that, I still felt when I thought about it and the things that were going through my mind, I still felt shame and guilt until I figured it out. And I said, oh, this is where it's coming from. This is part of the origin of that. And then all of a sudden, poof, gone. For me, at least, when I discovered what was happening and why it was happening inside myself, it dissipates.
Yeah.
It gets smaller. And even that, those feelings around that experience, that was my experience, not my son's, but you know, rolling out mats and all of that, that's gotten better.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, you know, we can work through our past stuff and current stuff if we notice.
Yeah. And I just reflecting on this, because I knew something was off for like a few days with you, like after it happened, like the next day. So it happened on a Thursday night. On Friday, we made appointments. We went, you know, to take him to get x-rays and all this stuff. And I could just tell that just something was off with you, with Mark. You know, I was like, there's okay. And I would check in every so often and be like, hey, like, we okay? It was just more to it than just like a concern for your child being hurt and what was to come. There was, and I think because I don't know, we talk and we are so like open about a lot of things, but I think for me as like, okay, he's not ready to talk about it. And I didn't push it, you know, which I also think is something that needs to be shared is, you know, I think a lot of times, we come out at it from I want to fix it. I want to help you. I'm here for you. And then we get mad because you're not letting me help you.
Especially the guys out there. They're, you want to fix it all.
Yeah. You go into this fix it mindset. And sometimes that's not what's needed, because it gave you space to figure it out and come to terms with what was actually underneath all of this.
Yeah. And I think there's some other parts to highlight that came out from all this. There was some stress around, our healthcare system's hard to navigate. Ugh. And we're both self-employed. It gets expensive. This whole process, we were able to, and I took kind of the reins on this, but we were able to advocate for ourselves, let everyone know, hey, this is the situation. We're going to be paying a lot of this out of pocket. And I mean, we had some great wins.
Yeah.
I think it was about $350 total for the x-rays, and we went to urgent care instead of the ER, of course, because that saves money. And we even told the treating nurse practitioner, she's like, are you in pain? Do you want ibuprofen? And we're like, well, we have ibuprofen at home. We don't want to pay, we're going to pay out of pocket. We don't want to pay $100 for one 200 milligram pill of ibuprofen.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, don't worry about it. We'll just, not put it on there or whatever. And I'm like, okay, we'll take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the next place we went to an orthopedic to double check and
to see. Well, we thought he needed a cast, so we went to the orthopedic, and we paid money up front because, again, cash pay. And we get in there and it's like for 5 minutes, she's like, oh yeah, we don't cast this type of break anymore, so we're just going to give you this sling. And I just looked at her and I was like, I'm not okay with this right now. I just paid, $500 to have a 5-minute appointment to hear that we're not getting cast. And she's like, oh, no. You guys didn't even need to come in today. Like, we'll refund you. Not a problem. And I'm like, cool. Like, this is great.
We had a doctor give us back money.
Yeah. And so I just, like you said, there's going to be situations. So awareness and advocating for yourself, if you do have things come up, don't be afraid to let them know everything. Like, I think maybe at some point we might have been a little embarrassed about like being cash pay, or we just are told, it's ingrained in us that you have to do these things because these are the authority figures. I don't know.
I think that's more of like, hey, this is how it's going to go. And there's like this societal pressure to be like everyone else, and to just go along with it.
That's what we're told we're supposed to do.
Just so whatever, you just go, and you go to the closest place or the most convenient place. Well, I call like 5 places.
Yeah.
And they're all within the same distance. So, you can do it differently.
Yeah.
You can navigate that differently.
Healthcare, mental health, like whatever it may be. I think this was really good, really helpful, insightful for me too, because like I said, for a few days, I didn't this is the first time I've heard this story too. I didn't know this is what was coming up for you. And it was definitely different for me. So
yeah. Well, I've kind of kept it because I knew I wanted to make a podcast about it. So
oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was there anything else that you had on that?
No, I think that's about it. Understanding what it and knowing how it feels to be neurologically hijacked. When we're responding from past versus in the present.
Yeah.
That the noticing is the first part, and then we go into what we can do about it. But it gets much easier once we can notice it. Yeah. Especially if we can notice it in the moment. I think that's the hardest transition. We can notice it like after the fact.
Yeah.
And part of it is taking responsibility for your behavior and not just blaming the other person.
Mm-hmm.
Because yes, my son did run into a wall at full speed, but is that, like, what? So what?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I can take responsibility for my response of it.
Yeah.
And there's some little things we can do in the moment,
Mm-hmm.
calming techniques and whatnot, but I think the real benefit is on a regular basis taking care of ourselves, putting ourselves first, our
Yeah.
needs, so that we can show up how we want to.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing.
Thank you for listening.
If you want to learn how to regulate your nervous system to show up the way you want for your loved ones, click the link in the show notes to grab your free download so you can interrupt those patterns and show up with more intention. And while you're there, go ahead and click those 2 links to follow Mark and Bree on Instagram. That's where they share lots of quick tips and other valuable resources for you to grab on the go. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.